There's a chieftain spirit. And,
This is the close shot. So,
Good evening, everybody.
Get on the show bus. Right.
I don't see it.
Her. Podium.
Podium?
Right.
Right. Okay. Great.
Welcome
There she is.
to White River High School. This is the first game here. Thank you so much for having
Oh, there she is.
The ones that are plugged in.
celebrate. I'd like to introduce Brett Smedley, the coach at Columbia River High School. He is an alumni, as part of our alumni group. He graduated in 2003. So he's going to start us off. Brett?
I'd like to invite the Hall of Fame committee, all the former players onto the field to stand behind me. Coaches, Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I wanted to fill you guys in on why we're doing this at the 30-yard line. A few years back, one of our players, Hunter Pearson, drowned in a tragic accident at Lacamas Lake, and a lot of the things that we do here is based around that at the 30-yard line. So we're here tonight to honor Coach Rourke and also to honor Hunter Pearson family as well. This is awesome to be here with you guys and to see all these faces that I know. I say it's an honor to do this. Coach Rourke had a huge impact on my life, as I'm sure he's had on your guys' life. I can remember one of the first times I met Coach Rourke. It was at an incoming 8th grade night. And I understand now, after looking at that, why I coach. I can remember Coach Rourke putting his players first, forcing those young men to be leaders, even though they weren't quite ready. I can remember the current players such as Brett Pierce, Greg Roberts, Billy Knox, Pat Mongrain, Andy Groban, coming up to me as an 8th grader, inviting me into this family. And that's what River football is all about. I still got the letter those guys wrote me, wishing me good luck in the 4 years that I was going to be a member of the River football family. It's always been about the development of young men with Coach Rourke. He had a big time impact on me even after high school. When I was here, we had some great teams. When I was here before or after, and I see some of those very faces tonight. Like I just said, that's absolutely awesome. And it really speaks to the impact that Coach Rourke had.
Can you guys hear me?
As many people do, I had my ups and downs right out of high school. And Coach Rourke took the time to write a personal letter to me with a very well-written message that I won't get into, and one word at the bottom, and that word was resiliency. Now, as a husband, parent, teacher, and coach, I think about this message of resiliency often. I'm very, very thankful that Coach took the time to reach out and coach me, even when he didn't have to. After I was done in the program, he took the time to reach out to check in on me. Always been about the development of young men, and I am very blessed to say that he had that impact on me. What an amazing man and amazing legacy that he's left on this football program, school, and CR community as a whole. This evening we're going to hear from fellow coaches and former players about Coach Rourke's great legacy at Columbia River High School. Thank you to the following gentlemen who will be presenting in this order: Darby Mead, Tom Boyle, Brett Pierce, and Dean Kirkland. Coach Mead,
Coach O'Rourke. I was lucky enough to learn from Coach both as a player and as a coach, 16 years in total here at Columbia River. To say that he was a mentor is an understatement. He inspired, encouraged, and taught me, just like thousands of other people that came through the program. Tonight, what I thought I'd do is share with you 3 lessons, I think, that I kind of pulled from my time with Coach O. Lesson number 1 is you need to show up. This was something that was essential in Coach O's philosophy. You can't lead if you're not there. Hard work and dedication built trust on his teams and were expected from all of his players and coaches. And it was more than just being there, but really being present. Coach built a culture to the program of ownership, a culture that valued attitude, commitment, and effort. ACE, he called it. These were expected from all, from incoming freshmen to seniors. And you had to earn your place in the ACE Club, not by talent, but by your choices to show up and work for the betterment of the team. Lesson number 1, you need to show up. Lesson number 2, people matter. Each year we'd have a session with seniors where the seniors and coaches would tell their life stories, good and the bad. Over the years of doing this, I came to realize the genius that Coach O'Rourke had in this simple activity. When the seniors and coaches understood each other, it became more than a team, it became a family. Well, my experiences with Coach O centered around football, what I learned was really about something else. It taught us that people matter, and the job of a teammate or leader is to serve those around them. All of those around them, not just those with talent, and not just when it was easy. He lived in an amazing place of balance between love and leadership, both being crucial and interwoven in how he operated. Lesson number 2, people matter. Lesson number 3, leaders serve. Coach had an expectation that the most senior players in the program should be the ones that carried the load. Should be the last ones out in the field picking up after practice, and they should be the first ones setting up. They also should be the hardest workers in the weight room. Often we see the philosophy that as you progress throughout a program, you get the younger players to do all the work. This was not the way that things worked in Coach O's world. The other older players had an obligation to serve the younger players. He modeled this and was the first to jump in when there's something that needed to be done. Teaching and coaching was his tool, but what he really did was taught us to be better and showed us that doing the right things and serving people mattered. Lesson number 3, leaders serve. Coach O's magic was that he led in a way that elicited kindness and love, not compliance or fear. And I appreciated all that he taught me and all of the athletes and the coaches that came through this program. So thank you for coming tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Coach Tom Boyle.
I speak for every assistant coach or coach that ever worked with Johnny O. He was such a genuine person, and I want to thank the Vancouver School District and Columbia River High School for this unbelievable tribute to this man. And to see his name, John O'Rourke Field, is just absolutely stunning. It's a tribute to the O'Rourke family and the Columbia River High School, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. I met John back 1965 at a little school in Helena, Montana called Carroll College, and we ended up, long story short, coaching together for 30 years. We all know John was way, way much more than a football coach. He was such a genuine person. If you were a coach working for John, and you saw how dedicated he was, how hardworking he was, how he loved every one of his players, as an assistant, you would do everything you could to make sure John and the chief of the program was successful. That's why when you check back, hardly any assistant coaches left John O'Rourke's program. And the reason why, John made you feel important. He let you coach. And it meant so much to every coach on his staff. It's little wonder that Coach O's chieftain program has over 100 wins. that's who John was. I mentioned earlier John was much more than a coach. I'm going to share just a short story with you, let you know what kind of guy he really was. About 11 years ago, I lost my mom. Long story short, it was a hellish trip back to Montana, coming back on Amtrak and get off and get on the buses. And finally got home on a Friday night, and I couldn't sleep much. So Saturday morning, I was up reading the paper, about 8 in the morning, and there was a knock on the door. I'm thinking, who the hell's knocking at 8 o'clock in the morning? So I went down, and there was Johnny O'Rourke. I'm thinking, wow. And John doesn't say a lot. In fact, he is so proud of his Irish heritage, but he's the most quiet Irishman I ever met. And he came in and he didn't say anything. We sat down and I'm thinking, maybe a football issue, whatever. And Coach O'Rourke says, I said, what's up, John? He says, Tom, I know you might be down a little bit, and I just came over here to talk to you about your mom, and we'll talk about our families. That's who John O'Rourke was. Genuine and loyal. I want to thank Columbia River, and thank you so much, Coach O'Rourke. We probably recommend this guy, Jeff Pierce.
Thanks, Tom. So, my name is Brett Pierce. We just had a vote. I was lucky enough to be on the best football team that Coach O'Rourke ever coached. Those three guys right there voted. It was unanimous. So Kevin reached out to me a few weeks ago. He said he wanted me to, there was this event happening and he wanted me to speak. And I was really excited to do it and very honored to do it. And then he told me, you get 5 minutes. I was like, you give me 5 minutes to talk about one of the most important men in my life and one of the most important times in my life. So I thought that was a little bit ambitious, but I'm gonna give it my best shot here. So Coach O'Rourke definitely had his own style. He wasn't the typical super aggressive kind of macho football coach. He was consistent, he was calm, he was always measured. I don't really remember him yelling or throwing anything at us. I'm pretty sure that's why he hired Tom and Willie to do the yelling and throwing. But he still somehow, without yelling, got his point across to like 65 basically wild animals that were teenage boys. So that was always interesting. He never cared about accolades. I think just the thought of this event would make him a little bit uncomfortable, but it also made him happy because he really enjoyed bringing people together. A lot of people came together for this, and that's what Coach O'Rourke did. He brought people together. Some of my best friends in my life, many of which are here today, I know because of Coach O'Rourke, and I know because of Columbia River football. So it's important that we do this. It's important that we celebrate Coach O'Rourke. It's important that his legacy lives on for years to come. And just a couple stories are about as PG as I can make them. Coach O was always watching, especially it seemed like when you didn't want him to watch. So my earlier days in high school, I was always kind of going to prove myself, so I did some probably unsavory things on the football field that probably aren't condoned by him. And like every 17-year-old, I always thought I was getting away with it. So a long time ago, my dad taught me about this thing called a forearm shiver. Okay, so a forearm shiver, for those of you who don't know, is when as soon as the ball snaps, you hit the guy in the chin and in the face as hard as you can with your forearm, and it usually gets dazed for a little bit and you get around and you can make the play. So after doing that for about 3 years, I decided to put these arm pads on because my arm was like breaking, so I was hitting these kids in the face. So I stopped doing that after 6th grade, which is kind of a weird time to stop doing that. But then on a particular big play on my sophomore year, we were on that side of the field. I was away from Coach O'Rourke. I decided the risk might be worth it. And so I just smoked this guy in the chin. And his face goes back, and I go and I make the tackle, I make the sack. Everybody's jumping on me. I think Billy might have hit me in the face with one of his elbows. He was so excited. And then we get to the sideline, I'm feeling great. And he's just standing there, totally like John O'Rourke, not moving, just staring a hole through me like I did something terrible to him. And I'm like, what's going on? And so he just goes like this. He just goes like this. He looks the guy in the face, he puts his hand out, he said, I'm wearing these arm pads, so I can hit these forearm shivers. He goes, take off those arm pads. And that's all he had to say. I never gave a guy another forearm shiver. I gave him my arm pads in the middle of the field in front of everybody. And then the next game, this was a little more, but the next game there was this running back, I think it was from Shelton or something. He was just being a total jerk and talking trash to everybody. And I was just over it. And so at the next big pileup, this kid, like I'm underneath like 6 guys, I lift up my helmet, I take out my mouthpiece, and I just look for the most available flesh I can find, and I just bite this kid's calf as hard as I can. Okay. This stuff happens. Okay, I bite this kid's calf. I'm a sophomore, so like whatever. Okay. He screams, he jumps up. I immediately claim innocence and just kind of jog out the field. Nobody sees anything. I'm jogging out the field right over to this side, thinking I just got away with a perfect crime. Nobody knows anything. Nobody said anything. And then same thing, Coach O'Rourke's looking at me, like giving me that same look again. He's not saying anything. I'm like, there's no way he saw that. Like I was underneath 7 people, and the ref that was 5 feet away didn't even see it. There's no way he saw that. So okay, he look this. He looks at me again, and he rips the mouthpiece off. They were hanging off your face mask, and they ripped the mouthpiece off my face mask. And he said, Brett, these things work best when they're in your mouth. I suggest you keep it there. And that's all it is. He didn't yell at me, he didn't scream at me, he didn't embarrass me. And for some reason he saw all this stuff. And so, you know, even though the forearm shiver helped the team win, and maybe the biting did, maybe didn't, I don't know. But it wasn't the right way to play. And he was always very resolute and like, we're gonna play this game the right way. Everybody on our team played the game the right way. And he didn't have to yell at us, he didn't have to scream at us. We just, that's just how we did it. And so, you know, as some of you know, I've been fortunate enough to play for a lot of different teams and a lot of different coaches and on a lot of different fields. But if I could play just one more game, it wouldn't be at Stanford in the Rose Bowl, it wouldn't be on Thanksgiving Day for the Cowboys. If I could play just one more game, it would be right here with these boys right here. I think I can speak for all the 4 players here when I say this. I don't know if this is going to bother some people, but I will always be a Chieftain. This will always be my home field. And Coach O'Rourke will always be my coach. So that's it. Dean, come on, man.
My name is Dean Kirkland. My last year at Columbia River was 1986. Played from 83 through 85 for John. Anybody that was in the presence of John O'Rourke just felt his passion, and he was a really humanitarian. He cared about people. As I look around here tonight, people I grew up with from grade school to high school and college, my wife, my mom. John, throughout my high school career, continued to encourage me to set my goals, and nothing was attainable. There was just nothing you can't do if you put your mind to it. And that carried me over through my college career, which was a big part of my life. We would talk once a week throughout my pro career, and then as a parent. And on to, obviously, lots of talks about football, on to my son's college career. And I'm so grateful for the influence that he had. I also got to witness when I was a young kid going over to his house, his parenting with him and Sandy, and the product that they put out with Kevin and Quinn. I've known those boys since they were little, and I'm very proud of them. It's a real honor to be here tonight, and it's with justice that this field be named after John. So I want to make sure I thank Kevin and Sandy and Quinn for letting the Kirklands be a part of their life. Long time ago till today. And with that, I'd like to read the plaque to all the people here tonight. I'll walk over to you. So, John O'Rourke Field, dedicated September 16th, 2022. John O'Rourke had a career that spanned nearly 5 decades at Lewis Junior High and Columbia River High School. He retired from teaching in 2007, went on to coach until 2015. O'Rourke was the league coach of the year 9 times and district coach of the year twice. His teams achieved 14 league titles. He was inducted into the Washington State Coaches Hall of Fame in 2012. O'Rourke's lasting legacy as an educator, mentor, and coach has positively influenced generations of Vancouver students and families. So for this day forth, this field is named John O'Rourke Field. Thank you, John.
So thank you so very much for joining us this evening to celebrate Columbia River's tradition of excellence and the legacy of a great man. As you've heard tonight, John O'Rourke dedicated his life to serving others, leading by example and believing in the great potential of young people he taught and coached. It is an honor to be a part of this Columbia River family. In just a moment, to represent this profound legacy, we would like all the former players to form a tunnel. Coach Smedley, where are you? Oh, he's over there. So, DP, will you help me? So, we want you to make a tunnel for the current players to run through over there. DP is going to help you do that. Okay? So, we want to do that, and what we want is at this time, they're going to form this tunnel welcoming the current River players onto the John O'Rourke football field for the first time. Thank you so much for coming.
There's a chieftain spirit, and we like to say in football that the things before you is your heritage, and you need to live up to that heritage.